It's Wednesday. You're halfway through the week. You're not to the finish, but you're not at the start anymore. This is about the time when most people get like a good runner's high. Like if you've ever been in a marathon or something like that, you're like, oh, you know, it's starting to not suck. And it'll suck later. You know, Thursday's not sweet either, but it's not Monday. So that's nice. How's your Wednesday going, buddy? Actually, is it Wednesday for us? It's Thursday for us,
Thursday.
But it's Wednesday for you guys. It's very
Wednesday
close.
for you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't get the Mondays or the Fridays anymore. I'm pretty chill all the time, but we're chugging along. Nothing. It's just kind of a big hole in my summer.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be match directing this week, so I really don't know what to do with my hands. Is what we got going on.
I understand. Well, it's finally like a reasonable temperature in Salt Lake. It's not 105 anymore. Now it's kind of rainy, which is nice since half the state's on fire. We need it. But it's getting to be that temperature where I'm like, oh, I can see going to the range and like going and getting in some practice. I've been taking a little bit of break here the last couple weeks after nationals. Good to kind of like recharge, did a little bit of reloading, made sure I had enough for the rest of the season. You know, that kind of stuff. Just maintenance.
I actually feel like kind of the olden timey times. It hasn't been like this for a few years, but I actually feel like I'm shooting a bunch, but it's locals. It's local matches. Because like we've talked about the last few weeks, like I've kind of dug into some other corners of our local scene here that I just haven't been present in for a while. Even at my home club, haven't been present in the way that I've been present lately. So it feels a little bit like Sandlot baseball again.
Yeah,
kind of stoked on that. Kind of stoked on that. But yeah, our wicked hot heat is gone, at least for now. We could maybe still get a little bit more, but yeah, it's been good. But yeah, I've just been kind of hitting some local stuff and getting ready for this fall. Like I'm really looking forward to the fall. There's some exciting stuff coming up.
Nice. Yeah. The fall's it's about to get real stacked real fast. So I'm just taking a little bit of a breather, but we're going to start up here pretty hard again. Well, you guys know the deal. We are, of course, brought to you by Atlas Gunworks. And if you head on over to Zero, on the perf and one word gets you 10% off of a single cart for any of the good stuff that you want. And if you guys have been following the Atlas Instagram pages lately, Adam Nielsen he's been laying down
some bangers,
behind the scenes tidbits.
He's dropping bombs.
And the last one that I saw, speaking of bombs, I was like, hey, is Atlas going to make a budget-minded pistol? And my guy was just like, nah, dog, that's not what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
so dumb
if you're looking for a budget pistol, you've come to the wrong place.
Is Ferrari going to come out with a daily driver econo car? No.
Yeah.
No. Now, if you know behind the scenes of Atlas Gunworks, they're short blocking guns for I think something like 12 plus brands. So there are, and kind of like he indirectly said it, if they're going to do one like that, they're going to do it under a different brand. It's not going to be Atlas. It's going to be something else. And they supply components to a lot of 1911 builders. A lot.
Yeah. A lot. But yeah, it's like, it's like you said, Ferrari. It's Ford versus Ferrari. Like,
yeah.
Does Ford make a GT40? Yeah, they sure do. But they also make, everything else. Ferrari just makes Ferraris. That's it.
That's what they make.
I saw some like super snobby, like a very throat punch worthy Instagram short of a guy being like it was how to tell if your car is cool. And it's like, if you have to tell somebody the model, then your car's not cool. It's like, oh, I drive a Raptor. It's like, no, you drive a Ford. Where it's like, if you drive a Ferrari, nobody gives a shit what kind of Ferrari. I'm like, no, no, eat a bag. Like, no. Like, sorry, dude.
Nope, I'm out on that.
Yeah, I'm totally out on that.
Although it's a really good week to not be a Fowler guy. I could tell you that. Ben decided they're on his shit list this week, and then of course we're also in the middle of a bunch of staccato drum. I believe that situation is ongoing. There's still, I have it on good information that more on that situation is dropping tomorrow, Riser and I's time. So that plot's going to thicken even more. But they cut a bunch of their dealers, and a bunch of people are really mad. So as we've seen already this year, when people are mad, they say things.
Instagram posts.
Yes, they say things that are true and not true, and nobody reads the retraction kind of stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Speaking of weirdness that nobody knows what's going on, can you clarify like what the F is up with suppressors right now? Like, can you just go buy a suppressor on a 4473 and we're all good, or like what? I got to think you know more than I do.
As with most things NFA, it depends. So we are the day of, or the day after the what do they call? I just watched Armed Scholar before I called you. The permanent block.
Dude, so here's the deal. I appreciate an Instagram channel that's going to explain things. That guy's shit is so clickbaity. Every photo, it is.
I only click on it once in a while.
Yeah, I've only in rare cases where I'm like, is this guy actually going to give me useful information? Will I even consider going over there? Because I've watched so much that it's just like
I'm glad.
Rants. Anyways,
I'm glad he's out there, but I don't want to do the kind of media that he does.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
So basically, what as short as possible, when Congress moved the tax from $200 to $0, essentially the reason that the registries are illegal, but the NFA was allowed because under the taxation powers of Congress. So Congress can levy taxes. They said it's not a registry, it's a tax. So Congress essentially moved the tax to $0, at which point the lawsuit was teed up so that, hey, if you're not generating tax revenue off of this tax, it's not a tax anymore. It's a registry, and registries are unconstitutional. And essentially, the Fifth Circuit said, you are correct. This is unconstitutional. And they basically have not appealed. That's ruling is going to stand. So we're in the now what phase. And really, the injunction, from what I understand, applies to the plaintiffs. So it applies to Gun Owners of America members, silencer shop customers, and any states that signed on to it. I think there's 27 states that signed on to this thing. Wisconsin's not one of those. Our compliance guy informed me today. So if you're a plaintiff to this, you're kind of in the clear. But nobody really... I
love using the word kind of with
nobody,
felonies.
Well, exactly. That's the thing, is everybody's really nervous, like, what's the gotcha here? You know, like, if they put a bunch of these out in the wild and then some sort of end run comes in, you're all felons now. Especially on people who stake their livelihood on this kind of stuff. So people are like, what?
The ATF would never just make a bunch of law-abiding citizens felons out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's never happened.
There's no precedent for that at all
in like the last
multiple
10 years.
Times.
Yeah.
Shit.
So people in the industry, professionally involved, our livelihoods are tied to this. They're not just willy-nilly gonna like flip you a suppressor for $50. So people with licenses and stuff like that, they're like waiting. They essentially have to wait for the executive arm to say how this is going to. They have to wait for ATF and DOJ to say, okay, in light of this, here's how we proceed. So we don't know. I mean, I think it's a net huge win. There's also some people out there saying like, oh, the NFA afforded us some protections now, blah blah. You don't know what you. I see this as net good, but like you can't just 4473 and SBR yet, except in certain instances. So we're within the first 24 hours. It's just like any sort of big news event, anything that happens, anything that's said in the first 24 hours, complete bullshit and speculation. So
Yeah, very true.
So nobody knows definitively what's going to happen because this is unprecedented repeal of rigid firearms law. So it'll be a wild ride for sure.
Yep, indeed. All right, folks. We are, of course, brought to you by Briley Manufacturing. OTP 10 gets 10% off everything over at Briley. And it's basically the halfway point of the season, which means it's time for new mag springs in the shotgun, especially if you're working up to the World Shoot and you're doing a bunch of basement quad loading. Maybe get a couple more.
Screw quad
Send it
loading.
over to Briley. Huh?
Have you seen what Varick and John got going
Dude,
on?
Holy
cow.
shit. I have notes on that later. So, all right. Everybody just go over to Instagram and just start scrolling around. You'll run into it eventually. But so some homeboy in Russia kicked this off. He put down a sub-second dissident shotgun reload, which if I lay down a
That's very
smoker,
That's very
if I lay
good.
down a smoker, I'm like just under 2.
Yeah,
I was like, I nailed it, and I feel like a gangster. So homeboy did like a sub-second reload. Then Varick answered back with a .81, which was insane. Then John answered back also with a .81, but he got his hand up on the handguard. So Varick did the reload and shot with the hand still on the mag, which is legit. He knocked over the target. It counts. John got the hand up in the handguard, and he's like, it's not good enough. I think I can go faster. So then John answered his own with a .57. And just this afternoon, Varick came back with a .50, followed by a 1.03 plate rack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just it looks fake.
Yeah.
it looks sped up and fake. It's so ridiculous. Being like, like .50 is like that's my like kind of 30-degree transition, just normal split, and they're just putting a reload in there that's invisible on the timer. That's insanity.
And what excites me about this is like I think all three of them are I don't know about this Russian guy, but all three of them certainly the two Americans are too young to know who Bob Munden is. But like, if you start thinking about like the golden era of exhibition shooting in the U.S., like Bob Munden, Tom Knapp, Jerry Micklick was even kind of one of these guys for a while. You know, they kind of had like a corny traveling show that they would bring around and people would watch them shoot. Or who is the state patrol guy from like the 50s? It'll come to me.
I'm not sure, but I have watched the living shit out of some Bob Munden.
Yeah. So like I was trying to explain to John, I'm like, that's you right now. Like I'm almost kind of like, you know what? Screw World Shoot. We need to get the record. We need to get the NRA involved here, and like we need to set a world record. One of those two guys needs to set a world record.
One reload, one shotgun world record. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and which like people don't understand. Like just doing it one time on your iPhone doesn't count. Like from what I understand, being within arm's reach of some of Jerry's records when he did some of the recent ones, they give you, I think they give you 3 tries. So essentially it's not just like that you did it. You have to do it on demand on the day. So when the people
really? You can't just swing for the fences all afternoon when you hook it up. You got it.
I think Ruben said, like, because Jerry, you remember that like weird carbine record that Jerry did when the UH-1 first came out?
Yeah, yep.
And that's what Ruben said. He's like, they give you 3 tries. And if, kind of like, but like you gotta, you have to do it on the day of. It's not like, oh yeah, I did this one time and 3 people were there and here's my proof. Like you kind of have to go, but like, I mean, they're rapidly approaching the point where like the gear won't go any faster. They are literally at the limit of human function. And like we got to get this in the record book. Like this I really think like the Army or somebody's got to get that cooking, cuz like it's truly amazing what those guys are doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, head on over to the gram. go to their channels. I think Dissident's been reposting all of it.
Yep. And while
it's ridiculous.
And while we're on Briley, OTP 10 code to save. There was rumblings around and speculation, and somebody thought it might be a fun idea to put a little wager on who would be the last shooter, or no, not who would be, but how late would be the last purchase of gear for World Shoot before they go. Like, who's gonna order the last thing before they get on the plane? Magazine spring, charging handle, magazine extension, rubber. How close to showtime is going to be the last person?
I'm just going to say Brian Nelson drop shipped to the airport. I'm not even sure how that would happen, but that's just what I expect.
And I really think we could bully Briley into giving out a prize for that. So I think we're going to go like Price is Right rules. Shoot an email to ontheperfpodcast@gmail.com. What you think the latest 11th hour, when you think the latest 11th hour equipment purchase for World Shoot will be. We're going to protect the innocent here on our sources as to how we'll know. We won't disclose who it is because that would be a jerk thing unless that person approves. But we're going to see how late before Shotgun World Shoot somebody buys a last-minute thing. Because, man, some of y'all are cutting it really close.
Are they saying how many days before shots fired? Because we don't know when everyone's flying out.
Ooh, yeah. See? Yeah. Before shots fired on the first day of the match.
Okay.
How close to shots fired on the first day of the match will be the last purchase from undisclosed source?
Well, and Briley's going to the match, right?
Yes.
So does this count for purchases on location, or does this have to be a stateside purchase? See, it seems like my co-host here didn't think this through.
Nor did the person who offered it up, but they were very clear about wanting to be anonymous.
All right.
So maybe just shoot us your guess. And, maybe if you buy a charging handle at the Euro stand before on your way there, like maybe that counts. I don't know.
I love our super clear rules.
Here's the deal, guys. We're trying to give away prizes. That's really what we do here. You listen to the show, we give you shit. That's how it works.
Yeah. We either give you shit in the form of prizes, or we give you shit in the form of being a Gary and talk shit about you.
Shit in your hands, shit in your earballs. Yeah. One way or the other. We're getting it there.
Remember, constant, unrelenting shit talk is my love language. If we didn't like you, we wouldn't talk about you. Well, speaking of talking shit about people, we seeded Rocky Mountain on the last go here. Rocky Mountain did, in fact, take place last weekend. And I texted several of my friends who shot the match, being like, hey, when I shot this 2 years ago, it was, very old school. It was cutting edge 3-gun from 2005. And a lot of the things that come along with that were there. And it was annoying enough that it kind of kicked off my really big travel season, where I shot 12 majors last year. And I was like, I would rather fly to North Carolina than drive 14 hours to Raton for another one of these, even though the stages in and of themselves are awesome and the facility's awesome. There's just so much weirdness around it that I'm like, it's just kind of a frustrating place to be.
Kind of makes your skin crawl a little bit.
Yeah. And so I texted several of friends, had a phone call with one of them, and was like, hey, legit, how was it? From several of them, I heard back, it was the best Rocky Mountain there ever has been.
Okay. So,
however, the bar's low for that. However, so also though a lot of frustration around let's just say the target demographic is not high level 3-gun shooters. So it is adventure shooting challenge for sure.
Oh, it's adventure shooting challenge. Okay, that's all I needed to know. It's adventure shooting challenge.
But even more so, I think, than Texas or anything like that. there was a lot of well, I saw a video from one person who, I'm going to leave everybody's name out of this, but I saw a video from one person. They were shooting long range off of a spool, and the camera dude's walking down behind the RO. The shooter's like 3 or 4 shots in. The RO is just walking with binos in their hands, not looking at targets yet, and, just strolling down behind the shooter, and they'll get there when they get there, and they'll start calling hits when they get there. Like that kind of a thing. I heard several complaints about there's a 700-yard shot, and RO was using what was described as 20-year-old binoculars offhand on the 700-yard target.
Oh, yeah.
So some stuff like that. Third place was a laminated piece of paper. That was the trophy for third place.
Nice.
That's sweet. And I heard from a lot of people that the prize table, the way they did it, so they always just do one giant prize table there. And back in the day, it used to be % of finish in your division.
They invented
and
this. This was long-standing lore.
What that led to was what they called the Horner something. I can't remember what they called it. But anyways, basically Dan would show up and put 20% into everybody in TAC, which was the big division at the time.
Huge.
So you'd have all these TAC shooters just bouncing to other divisions because there's like 9 divisions there. It's ridiculous. And so everyone would just bounce to another division because they didn't want, everybody in heavy metal who's all stacked up because they're all, kind of the same level shooter to all walk before them. So everyone would just jump out of TAC into something else. So their solution to that, instead of doing what every other match on Earth does and just have a separate prize table for each division.
Oh, no.
They said, well, we'll just walk it in order. So first in every division goes, then second in every division goes, then third in every division goes. But what happens is last place in heavy goes before, fourth place open or whatever the heck it. So it just, no matter how you do
I'm
it.
bad at math, but
if you just have one prize table, it always goes very poorly. And hopefully it's 2 years ago. One of my things was they also had a blind prize table, which as a person who has represented companies and been the person involved in putting the prizes on the prize table,
that's a bad look.
I am not down with a blind prize table because nobody knows the thing that you put on there unless they pull it or they walked past it to grab something else. That's it. So nobody sees your stuff. So people need to be able to walk the prize table before the prize table pulling part actually starts. But anyway, so that person who will remain nameless, who I had a very long phone call with, he said he's going to lean on the match directors pretty hard, but he's kind of like, yeah, they just sort of don't know any better because that's all they shoot. They've only shot there. They've never traveled anywhere. And so I asked him the golden question. I was like, hey, if this was on the same weekend as a match in North Carolina, should I drive to Raton or book a flight and fly to North Carolina? And he said, oh, for sure, just fly to North Carolina. So
you're marked safe from Rocky Mountain 2027?
I'm marked safe from Rocky Mountain 2027, indeed.
All I really have to contribute is I saw that Tina Garcia gave the Porta Potties 3.5 stars.
Oh.
3.5 stars from Tina Garcia. So,
well, which
our
you got
field
4 stars
from
Minnesota got 4 stars, right?
Yeah, I mean, our shit's lit, man.
Dude, yeah,
tight. We didn't even have a view. That's like most of what she liked is there's like a view on the balcony for the porta potties. Like we got we got a 0.5 star more in Minnesota just on like the shitting experience alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as somebody who's definitely pooed a lot in those porta potties, it's like a trailer situation where like there's like 6 porta potties up on a trailer and you like walk up the steps and do the thing, but it's all right. It's all right. Yeah, we need to we need to bring her on.
Yeah.
She can be our field correspondent.
What's the weather like, Tina?
It's gonna rain. Anyways, all right. Well, seeding for Rocky. Here we go.
All right, let's do it.
We seeded 3 in open and 3 in modified because who cares about all the rest of those divisions? The first person that we seeded in open was Jerry Michalak. Maxwell seeded him 5th. I told Maxwell, hang on, my dog's getting all up in my business. Murph, you gotta gotta go. I'm doing a thing. Come on, go.
Yeah, we're doing the thing, Murph.
Okay. All right. I told. So here's the thing. I'm probably not going to pick Jerry again because I'm never going to respect Jerry by giving him the under. And I was dumb enough to tell Maxwell that. So Maxwell just seated him 5th, and I gave him the over because I'm a man of my word, and I'm never going to disrespect Jerry. But this is a high-altitude match with a lot of running, and Jerry's not a spring chicken anymore. Jerry got 18th place, point Maxwell. So
I mean, I feel about the way I felt when I beat Jerry in a match for the first time. You know,
Yeah, exactly. All right. Second on the list was Craig Outson. Now, Craig had an interesting little thing here because Craig has been known to no-show for matches. So I told Maxwell that if he chose no-show as his seed and Craig no-showed, that he would just get 3 points.
Just trying to swerve here.
But if Craig just showed up to the match, I got a point. That's the way it works. So I didn't have to pick an over and under. And Maxwell took the bait.
Yep.
And he gave Craig a no-show.
And Craig showed up.
Which was a really smart move because Craig did not show up.
What? What? No way that worked. Oh This is the greatest day of my life. Not really, babe, if you're listening, but like in pod world, like, man, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good podcast
pretty good.
so far. We're doing good. We're off to a good start.
Yeah. Craig, you might be a middle name on a next child. You might be.
All right. So Sutton Cavalier was the 3rd seeded. Maxwell put him in 15th. I gave him the under. And Sutton just gave me double birds and beat the spread and finished 13th. So
he had 2 Red Bulls, and here we go.
Yeah, another point Maxwell. So Maxwell is up 5-0, which, if my math is correct, is pretty much unobtainable comeback.
I love that.
Into modified, which is not quite modified, but it's pretty close. The other thing that I was told is the abandoning gear thing is still a thing. So, like, if you're shooting open and you, like, run out to the first position with the sandbag, you have to carry that sandbag until you get to a dump barrel and put it in the dump barrel. Same thing with tripods. Same thing with you can't ditch if you wear like a cummerbund style shell caddy, that has to be on you the entire way. Nothing can come off of you.
No littering.
No littering. The only thing that can hit the ground is mags. So
that's
Robert
Valencia,
Valencia, the first.
Name.
Exactly. Robert Valencia, Vlastelsia. Robert. Dude, just give me a call, homie. Tell me how to say your last name. You got my number. Robert Vlastelsia was seeded 10th. I gave him the under. Actually made a good call. Robert had a rough match, finished 22nd. Next on the list was Joe Easter, switching over to modified division.
G-Easter.
Normally a limited shooter. Maxwell put him in the 3 spot. I gave him the under. A lot of heat at this match. Thought he might get bumped.
Nah.
Joe Easter finished 3rd. 2 points. 2 points, Maxwell. Woo! And last but not least, Mike Becky. I'm reading 2 names at the same time. Mike Becky. Maxwell seated him in 15th place. I gave him the over. Becky's been putting in some work. He finished 13th. I got a point. So if my math is right, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-2. Maxwell beat me on this one. So absolute curb stomping. But I think I'm still up 1. So
you think or you know?
I'm gonna say 75% sure because I think I was up 1 on the last one and that put me up 2. So now I'm up 1.
I just gotta stay close. Otherwise, there will be no living with you at all.
This is all your idea.
I know, right? Like, the people at home probably think we make this up, but no, this is literally just shooting from the hip. This is just how it turns out.
Yeah, very much, very much. All right, that brings us into everybody's favorite time, the Gary of the day. And remember, Jerry does some Gary shit, but Jerry ain't no Gary. Gary of the Day is brought to you by American Defense Manufacturing. OTP 15 gets you 15% off anything over at ADM.
If all of a sudden you're going to discover SBRs, that would be like a great place to explore them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of NFA stuff, all of a sudden being legal, this would be a fantastic place to go over and get yourself a little stubby guy. If you have any stubby guy questions.
Good.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Indeed. Yeah, Maxwell rocks the living shit out of an ADM SBR at pretty much any match with shooting inside of 300 yards. And I'm told that Maxwell here has himself a Gary of the Day from a listener. Oh, also, yeah, forgot about that whole part. If you want some free stuff, ADM will give out a free mount of your choice. And they're nice mounts.
Yeah.
To anybody who submits a Gary of the Day to us and we use it on the podcast, which we do quite regularly, send those in to ontheperfpodcast@gmail.com. And if Maxwell picks one, then you get some free stuff like this guy is about to do right now. What do you got?
I had to check with Riser because I thought we had talked about this before, but it grinds our gears enough that we're fairly sure it hasn't been a Gary of the Day. So this person's getting a Gary of the Day for this submission, and it is crowding the squad in front of you when you're coming up to a new stage. Getting in the way of the shooters while you're trying to walk through, kind of mother henning them out, kind of forcing them out of the
taking the shady spot under the awning while they're out resetting targets.
The preload tables, the staging tables, hell, just talking about stage plans too loud in the background. Like, it's not your turn. Step back.
And you just chill out.
And unlike most Garys, here usually the worst offenders are the people who should know better.
Yes, this is very true.
Yes.
It is almost inverse to what regular Garys are.
Yeah.
Like, normally Garys are like, oh, you kind of just don't know what you're doing yet. You're sort of figuring out. This one is like, hey, dude, you should know better. So,
and
you've been around for long enough.
You used to be able to just throw on a pair of gloves and be like, oh, I'm going to help you guys reset. Nope. Too many people ruined that. You're not resetting. You're not resetting.
Yep. There's a lot of fake resetting going on where you go out and you tape one target and then sort of walk the stage a couple times. No.
Yeah. No.
Absolutely not.
No. It's not your turn. Back off. You want to see the stage? Get there early. Day of, day before, get there early. When the squad ahead of you is on the stage, they have complete right of way to the stage. You need to step off. And like triple points if that squad is a staff squad. Like just just freaking butt out. All right.
Dude. Yeah, calm down. Yeah, you can hang back in the back. In the back. In a physical zone where nobody shooting that stage would walk to get gear or do anything else. If you're like, oh, somebody might walk through here, you're too close. You can hang back and watch and talk quietly amongst yourself, but coming anywhere near the awning, against the rules.
Yeah. Huge
coming anywhere near the bay, against the rules. Yeah.
You're that guy.
Do not do it under any circumstances.
And that is your Gary of the Day.
Yeah, I figured out why my dog's freaking out. It's because there's thunder outside, and he needs a thunder buddy. He's not a thunder dog. So you might hear some Murphy in the background. Well,
I introduced my son to thunder the other day. The world's still a very big and exciting, interesting place. So everything's new.
Yeah. Oh, how do you take it?
Oh, he's fine. He's nice. He's just checking it out.
That's how I am, unless I'm actually like in the lightning part, which I have been in a couple times, and that's not fun.
Yeah, if you're above the tree line, it's different. It's a little more personal.
Yeah. But that's a story for another day. Well, we're going to get into a topic here. And in the last episode, we were talking about kind of the shenanigans going on with the IPSC Rifle Qualifiers and trying to figure out a bunch of hypotheticals. If this, then that. And Maxwell kind of put the call out. He's like, we need some spreadsheet Asians to chime in here. Well, We got just that.
None of us.
Because our
not
buddy,
a single one of them helped me out.
Yeah, well, they didn't help you out, but David Wynn, shout out my boy. He sent me a extensively long Instagram message with if AJ finishes at this percentage and Kyle finishes at this percentage, then this will happen. And he kind of laid it out pretty good.
Okay, good. So you got some stuff to go because I made a spreadsheet. Like I'm hanging this thing on the refrigerator so that like Ms. Amax can be proud of me. I made one. It's color coded. I war gamed some stuff. Like Riser can't make fun of my notes on this one. I actually did a legit spreadsheet.
It looks on point.
I tried
as a spreadsheet connoisseur. I'm going to give you like a solid B+.
You know what? And that's what I was going for. Because there's some stuff in here where like if you're not in my head, you don't know what it means. But I tried to put all the numbers on here and kind of organize them so we could see some stuff to at least talk about the totality of what we're looking at here. And so we're just going to go ahead and caveat some stuff. Now, I was heavily involved in the front end of this. All right? I'm not anymore. Whenever I ask people about this now, I actually have a couple questions out now, but they're at Race Gun Nationals, so they don't give a kite about this. So like when I ask them now, I'm like, I am media seeking comment, and I will ask them a question. That being said, I'm not going to say I know the most about this of anybody, but I'm going to say it's a tie between the regional director, Leighton, and myself. I don't think anybody knows more about the inner workings of this than we do, because we were talking about it and we were the only ones there. Also, we're here to call, what we want to do for the show here is call balls and strikes, all right? So I'm not involved in these committees anymore. I'm just a media person passionate about the sport. I think this is an interesting story for those of us who are emotionally engaged in this. I think this is an interesting thing to unpack. I'm not trying to like defend the way we set it up or whatnot, although I think it makes sense. And so like I'm not trying to like put my finger in this. I'm just trying to observe, and we're just going to talk about this a little bit to let people know what's going on. Why? Because no one else is talking about what's going on no one else who doesn't have a dog in the fight is talking about what's going on.
I wouldn't worry too much. There's absolutely no chance that anything that we say will get taken out of context and then used against us in the court of public opinion later.
Oh, yeah.
So don't,
what are they going to do?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Kick me out? Also, I would say I know vast majority of the people we're going to talk about, and I would think of vast majority of them as friends. All right? So, like, to you out there, if you want to be the man in the arena and you want the sport to grow, we're going to talk about you, all right? We're going to talk about you like Sophie Cunningham, all right? She's a person. She has feelings too, but guess what? She's a puppet in the game, all right? So, like, your name is a character in this story. Don't take it too personal. And I think the last thing I can think of off the cuff that I want to preface this with is, as with most things, before I got my letter, as with most things in USPSA, I am about the most neutral person you will talk to on any of this.
Before you got your letter.
Yeah, now I'm very DGAF. But as Riser put it so eloquently, and I didn't even realize it until he said it, and then when he said that I gave my last F, I felt it leave. I felt it come off my chest and float up into the atmosphere. I watched it go. Like
liberating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like a big helium balloon. It just kind of like
there it goes. My last fuck floating into the abyss.
All right. So it's gone. I am the most Switzerland person you can talk to on any of this stuff. I talk to people on both sides of this issue. All right. People involved, people administratively, sponsors, all that stuff. I've talked to people on all sides of this issue, and we're talking about it here to put as much of that in light as possible so you, the listener, can arrive at your own opinion about what is going to happen. I do think what is about to happen is a foregone conclusion. I have a pretty good idea of how it's going to go, but I can't say. But let's talk about some of the what ifs here of what we could do with some of these scores, some of the things that are being talking about, and what maybe the downstream implications would be of going some of those routes.
Well, I'm gonna chime in with David's text here because he laid it out very succinctly. So I'm just literally gonna read what he wrote. He wrote more than this, but I'm gonna read the pertinent section. Basically, the deal is, if Rio puts on a match, then what? So
yes,
the rub is, if Rio puts on a match, that's a whole thing. And then also this match lands on the same weekend as Memorial. So a lot of the hitters would generally not skip Memorial for this.
Yeah. So let's unpack that quick before you get, I feel like you have something else coming. So
all right. Well, you unpack that really quick while I run to the fridge and grab a beer. So vamp away. Let the people know what's up.
Okay. So the thing with the Arizona match, or even the matches in general, and how the schedule worked out, some people are disappointed now about how the schedule worked out, how some of these matches essentially worked out to be 1, 2, 3 in a row. To that, I would say find anyone else who would do a match at any other time. These were the matches we could find, and as ranges go, they have schedules of their own. When you ask Heartland when you could put on a match, they gave us a pick of a couple weekends. The weekend they picked was the least bad option. The Bay Area match, that's an immovable object. That match has a history, so it traditionally falls on a weekend. They're not moving. Multi-Gun Nationals, there's a contract there. That's going to fall on that weekend. It's not moving. And so when this was all being talked about early, it being Layton's home club, he really wanted Rio to get in the mix. And with most ranges, when you say, hey, would you like insert event at your club? The first answer will be yes. And so that's what we got out of Rio. Okay, when? Who's going to do it? That's where it gets murkier. Now, there was enough proof of life out of it that we kept them in the conversation pretty deep into the spring, but they were so non-committal that I never really took them serious. They're not really going to put down a match. And then the date that they came up with as the ideal date that they would want to do, it's the Memorial match weekend. If they do a match that weekend, it's either going to be really watered down because the heat's not all going to go, or they're going to start a rift with the multi-gun community and that USPSA is potting down a major multi-gun match. People were upset that we booked matches within 2 weeks of Memorial. Even last year for the shotgun matches, some people were like, oh, I can't believe you're putting a match this close to Memorial. It's well, it's not on Memorial, and we have to get it in here kind of thing. So Rio was in the conversation. They were in the conversation deep enough that they were written into the protocol in hopes that they would announce a date, but they never did. They never announced a date. And the match was, one of the arguments out there is that the match was canceled and that we've changed the protocol essentially because we canceled the match. There never was a match. There was never a date. There was never a practice score thing. There was never anything other than, fairy dust. It's a vague idea of a match that might happen. It was never real. It was never real enough that I would think someone who is serious about going to Mongolia would stake their whole trip on it happening. I just wouldn't count on it.
To play devil's advocate here a little bit, and I have no horse in this fight at all. It is on the USPSA website for Rifle Qualifiers.
Yep,
as
it is.
RQ6 date TBD.
It is.
And that is like the spot you're supposed to go for information about how to qualify for the World Shoot.
Right?
So I would say if it actually wasn't real, it should maybe not be on that page.
Right? That'd be a really good idea that somebody should have done somewhere.
Yep.
Right. And like, as like, live by the sword, die by the sword. It's like one of the USPSA isms. All right. If you're arbitrating now, that door's open, baby. And if I was the one that affected, you better believe I would be diving down that rabbit hole and trying to make it as big a chasm as I possibly could. Like if it affected me. But maybe let's table that for a second in the what ifs. Let's just see how the points shook out as they did, as the protocol is written, kind of what we have now, and then we can work some different ones. Does that work with you, or does your thing?
Go for it.
Okay.
No, lay it on me. I think that fits in better here.
Okay.
Go.
So talking overall open team, because that's really all that's in contention here. We'll also talk about ladies and we'll talk about seniors, but those are the only 3 teams that really have proof of life through the qualifier series. And so coming out of, after all 4 of the matches that are solid going to happen, after we've shot 4 of the matches and the protocol says we're going to take the best 3 scores of the named matches, that leaves us with a team of Varick and B. Nelson, who I just took it upon myself. Like, I hope he's not offended. I'm going to start calling him B. Nelly.
Dude, I saw that in your spreadsheet, and I did a full spit take.
Right?
Yeah.
Brian, if this is, I know he listens, or he said he listens. If this is offensive to you, please let us know and we won't do it anymore. Otherwise, you are B. Nelly.
No.
Maybe.
If this is offensive to you,
yeah,
we're definitely doing it more.
Rise is going to dig in your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
if there's a card, you shoot with Cardi B all the time. So Cardi B and B. Nelly,
yeah.
Come on.
Oh, you're right.
Right?
When you're right, you're right. All right. So
yeah.
it's Varick and Benelli.
This is happening.
Varick and Benelli, they're tied for first place. They both got 287 points. In third place, because of his Hundo and Heartland, in third place, John Waddell got in there with a 282. And just barely got in front of AJ Anthony with a 281. And then from there, it's not really even close.
There's a point separating them?
Yeah, there's a point separating them. And then we drop down to like 273 for Lee Pulley or 267 for Joe Farewell, 257 for Zach Smith. Like, it falls off pretty quick. But these 4 guys are really tight. And then the X factor here that we've talked about before is the champ, our buddy, our 3-man team member, who I've confirmed he's still coming. He's still Kyle Litzy. All right, so Kyle Litzy, the reigning champ, he's only shot 2 matches so far. He shot a hundo in arena. He got a 96 in the Bay Area match. He's got 196 points. So if the Arizona match were to happen, he is in striking distance. In fact, it's probably pretty inevitable that he would make this team, barring some sort of catastrophic mechanical malfunction, some kind of DQ, something like that. But if he shoots anywhere within 10% of where he normally does, he's on this
Here's the deal. So we're going to get into David's text because he spreadsheet Asianed the shit out of this thing. Basically, if Kyle breaks 86%, regardless of what anybody else does, then
AJ
he's
is out.
Yeah. And so if AJ wins, well, here, I'm just going to read his little block text here because this is pretty pertinent. All right. It says, if only Kyle and AJ shoot the Rio match,
yes,
both Kyle and AJ would qualify if Kyle wins and AJ shoots over 89%, or if AJ wins and Kyle shoots over 86%. It says AJ would replace his 89.13 Bay Area score, and John Waddell would be eliminated in either scenario. Obviously, John would retain his spot if AJ does not shoot over 89%, or if Kyle does not shoot over 86%.
Which Kyle has been above the 90th percentile in all of these and within the memorable past. So, like I say, I mean, it's pretty... We were actually really... I was really surprised. I don't know if you were, but like I was really surprised to see John putting up 88s and 89s early in the season.
I was too. I expected John to be putting up like mid to high 90s at least.
Yeah, and same thing with Varick. I mean, Varick's got an 89 and an 83 on here. Like that.
Yeah.
We would say that's uncharacteristically low for those guys.
Yes.
So
especially for John, I think like Varick's a little bit more like drag race style and occasionally just kind of like puts it into the wall, where John is like consistent, super high level execution.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very surprising to see. It's not overly, Varick's a little bit like Brian Nelson style, right? Like he's young Brian Nelson, where it's like, oh, he either wins or, something happens, where John is just like perfect execution and let the other guy fuck up.
Yeah.
So it's same thing, very, very rare to see John in that like 80 territory.
Yeah. Or like I expected to see Joe Farewell a little bit higher in this race also. Like he started off the season with an 84. I would say that was unexpectedly low. Multi-Gun Nationals didn't do him any favors at a 78, so that's a drop score. And then he kind of turned it around. He got a 93 and a 90. It was just kind of a too little too late to get high enough in there. And then it drops off quite a bit. You got after Joe, you have people who didn't shoot 3 scores. So like Tony Mazza was one to watch, but he started the season with a 67, so he really needed to shoot multi-gun nationals to average this thing out to have a chance. Because even if he shoots Arizona, I mean, unless he crushes it and is in like that 95 percentile, I don't know that he has enough points really to get in there. And same thing with Begler and Chad and Duncan. Like they came on really strong in the end, but they kind of didn't go the distance all the way through the season to be close enough to the front to be challenging for one of these spots.
Dude, shout out Lee Pulley. Like, really consistent, but also just like slowly increasing. Over the series, like 87, 89, 92, 92. And like, dude, like I mean, obviously, Varick, John, B. Nelly, literally everybody except Kyle, as far as I can tell, has an 80% score. So to be like consistently high 80s to low 90s in 4 of these matches is super impressive.
Yeah, I became a fan. Like through the season, I became a fan. Like I was talking with Tony on Instagram. I'm like, who else you got your eyes on here? He's like Lee Pulley, and I like went and followed his page and whatnot. He's been shooting multi-gun nationally. We've been around each other, but like he just hasn't been on my radar. But like, big fan of that guy. Like he's doing great.
Yeah, it is putting in work.
Yeah. So as our spreadsheet agent, I know we say that lovingly. All the Asians I know in the shooting sports are cool with being made fun of. So I think they've collectively given me permission to make fun of them. They all laugh when I make the jokes. So again, we only talk about people we like. All right. So so that's all in jest. But basically, if the Arizona match were to happen, we would assume Kyle would be there. We could reasonably assume AJ is going to be there because that's his local club. So even though AJ is probably strong contender for Memorial 3-gun, I think the sponsor pressure, if nothing, would be I would think he would be there, and I would expect he and Kyle to be 1-2. So if the Arizona match happens, which I don't think it will, they basically would, and if they don't do anything crazy, I think they basically push John out. Which obviously John is not stoked on. And the other thing with that match too is they're also somewhat compressing the window of time when this match could happen. and it's not artificial. People are like, well, we have plenty of time. The match is in whenever it is. I think it's next summer sometime. Just logistically, the block of time to get everything in line for the team to go, all the goat roping, all the permits, shipping the ammo, buying the ammo, importing the guns, it just takes time. And they've had a ton of time for the shotgun team, and that's a hot mess. So,
well, here's the thing though. Can you imagine Kyle not going?
Oh, he's gonna go. But he's gonna Josh Freilich it is what he's gonna do.
Yeah, well, I mean that's exactly it, right? It's like the same thing happened. It's very funny, like because I'm having some like wild deja vu because if you've been in the sport for long enough, you remember Josh Freilich didn't get qualified for the Shotgun World Shoot team in Open Division. I don't remember what year that was, but basically, like he wasn't a USPSA member. He's like, I don't shoot USPSA, I shoot multi-gun. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. And literally because so I can't remember what the qualifiers were. I think multi-gun nationals might have been one, but he wasn't
from what I
can't remember exactly.
This was partially. I would say this is a significant reason why I got involved because I didn't want this to happen again. But from what I remember, and I was not super invested at the time, but this is kind of the political selection process that people were upset about. And one of the ways that, who is that president that everybody hated? Mike Foley. The way Mike Foley set this out was basically that they had a points or a tier system based on participation, and it was participation points within USPSA events. So
there's one multi-gun event.
There's one multi-gun event, which Josh shot, I think. Yeah. But then everything else Josh was shooting was 3-gun matches because Josh was like Reiser and I, and that 3-gun was his primary sport. At the time, Scott Green was shooting a lot more pistol. I think it was partially because that's what it was in his area. Like there just wasn't as much 3-gun in his area. And so by default of shooting like, I don't remember the specifics, I'm going to make some up, but let's just say Scott shoots Area 1, Area 2, and multi-gun nationals. Well, he had participated in more major level USPSA events. He had more preference points for the team. He and the other guys that were picked for the team. And Josh didn't have enough points to get in. And so they're like, well, you're not on the team. And Josh, being a former MMA fighter, was like, well, screw you.
I'm just going to go win it anyways.
He's going to go win it anyways. Yeah. But at the time, like there was no, and this was the challenge for years up until last year with this current shotgun quality team. Like, how do you pick? How do you pick? What events do you base them on? You know, like all the guys or gals, all the shooters weren't at the same events. How do you pit one against the other? Oh, so-and-so says he's really good, and so-and-so says he's not. And, he just doesn't like him. And that's where that came from.
Well, and you got a bunch of pistol people picking people to shoot sports that aren't their sport.
Predominantly, yes. That's why I'm so bold to say I am tied for knowing the most about this, because I'm the only multi-gun or long gun person involved, really, with any of this. The rest of them they really only care about pistol and kind of PCC. And so it just so happens that we're in shotgun and rifle years. So, those people pretty much step back, and I'm the only one I'm really the only one at the national level who is stepping up to help. So, I mean, if you're the only one, with an opinion and who knows the people, you can kind of get a lot of stuff done. And so that's kind of how this all shook out. But the shooters all said they wanted a rigid, defined, objective selection process to pick the teams, and that's what they got. And now in hindsight, some have said, well, that doesn't really work for me because I didn't make it. And that's where it gets weird.
All right, I'm gonna keep playing devil's advocate here because it seems like the right thing to do.
Hell yeah.
So Man, I gotta think. Well, there's two cases here. So Kyle, obviously shooting the previous rifle qualifier, or rifle world shoot. Several other people in this sheet shooting the previous rifle qualifier.
Do you remember
shoot.
who that was?
Who what was?
Who was on the last rifle team? Kyle, Joe.
Oh, I don't know. Let me just do some little quick Google foo here, and we'll find out.
I know it wasn't John, because that was a whole thing last time.
What year was that?
Would have been 3 years ago.
So 23
ish. But so it was talked about while he's finding that. It was talked about in the beginning when we were setting out the protocol. What's going to count? And I don't remember specifically now, but I think I was on the side of I thought that previous world shoot scores should count, because one of the things people say when you ask people like Becky Yackley and B. Nelly and Lanny or Tennille, they say like previous IPSC, international IPSC experience is value, and it should have some value. So how does that weigh in? I think, and I was pro that. I thought this should count as one of the scores, especially when it was looking like we weren't going to have as many matches as we wanted. When North Carolina fell off, well, we didn't know North Carolina was going to fall off, but like when Rio wasn't as serious as we thought they were going to be, and Colorado wasn't going to happen, and there was a couple of them. It's like, okay, well, I think that should be one of the scores. I think I wasn't able to confirm this before we recorded this, but from what I recall, the argument against that was it's too far in the past. So we need more current. We need more current information.
That was 24. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, they needed more current scores, and I think also what I think tipped the scale is they don't select handgun that way. So handgun and PCC don't select that way.
But handgun there's like 2 years worth of qualifiers to pull from.
Right, which ideally shotgun and rifle would evolve into. I don't know who's going to do that now, because I'm not. Yep. I just keep throwing that out into the world so people know that I'm serious. I'm not doing it. So if you want that to continue, when no one is selected, you are elected. All right? That's why I'm putting that out there.
Here's the 2024 team was Kyle Litzy, Daniel Horner, AJ Anthony, and Joe Farewell. And then the finishes for the U.S. boys was
Horner.
I know, right? So Kyle won, Dan was 5th, AJ was 6th, Brian was 7th, Varick was 8th. Dude, the bottom half of the podium there is pretty full up with our boys. So yeah, and then so there's two things going on here where it's like, obviously Kyle being the current world champion, I feel like, especially because IPSC rifle is not 3-gun rifle, is not PSCSL rifle, is like it is its own thing. And then so his points, if I was going back in time to rewrite this, I would say like that should freaking count because it's obviously what we want. Also Brian's overseas stuff, because he shot a lot of like major IPSC matches overseas, and then those didn't count either.
I didn't do that math. What were their finishes? I mean, Horner's not in this mix, but we got Kyle with 100. What did AJ get?
I don't have 1 second.
So it's just for funsies here. I mean, let's plug those scores in and see what would have happened.
Yep. All right. We are chat GPTing the shit out of this, and it's kind of doing okay.
It's not bad. Admit. It's not bad.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I think more data is better, and like I said, I think it would be a nod towards that international experience. Ultimately, that didn't rue the day, because it's not just me and Leighton. It's me, Leighton, at least 2 board members, both of which I don't think are current. They've rotated out.
Dude, look at you, ChatGPT.
people.
All right, here we go. Kyle, obviously, with the hundo. Daniel Horner was 92. AJ Anthony was 91. So you can throw that in there.
And then Joe.
Benelli was 90.8.
90, okay.
Varick was 90.6. And Farewell was 88.9.
Okay, so without doing the math, that doesn't help Joe. Well, yeah, it does help Joe. It helps Joe. Joe picks up 3 points, which doesn't help Joe because it's not enough. He's not close enough.
I was going to say, I'm not even looking at the sheet, and I know that doesn't help Joe.
B. Nelly, he would use that score. He would gain 1 point.
Okay.
But he's already in first. So you'd get separation from him and Varick. Varick would also pick up 1 point. So you would still have Varick and Benelli tied. AJ would use that score. He would gain 2 points, which kind of ties him with John. And then Kyle has 296, and he's unbeatable. So really using last time's scores doesn't change the mix other than to put Kyle ahead of everybody with a hundo. Because John didn't shoot the world shoot. At the time, the political part of what happened last time is there were people on the committee who raised the issue that military guys are subject to needs of the Army. Army could give them orders and say they couldn't go, which turned out to be completely false. That would not have happened, and the AMU guys are pretty upset about it. But essentially the reason AMU guys didn't get picked last time was that concern raised by a few people. So John didn't go. So John has no score from last World Shoot because AMU was torpedoed. So all taking those scores from last time really does is put Kyle in the mix. It doesn't net change the scores that much, really. And then the other question would be, so I think just banking on a match that didn't have a date or a practice, like that was really aggressive. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think it was kind of short-sighted to count on. But the argument is out there that, well, they announced 6 events, so they went down to 4. So because they're down to 4, we should pull the scoring matches back to 2. We should take the best 2 scores out of this whole thing, which I don't think anybody on the selection committee likes. But just for the sake of argument, best 2 scores out of this whole thing would have B. Nelly up top, Varick right with him, both with 198s. Kyle would be 3rd at 196. John would be 4th at 193, and AJ would be out.
Mm-hmm. I said, like, I'm kind of, like looking at this from the sidelines entirely. I'm kind of okay with that because there's precedent for that in other sports. Like that happened a lot during pandemic years. I follow rally racing in the United States. I'm a huge fan of little all-wheel drive cars going through the trees at 100 miles an hour. And same thing happened with the rally championship. And I think of the auto sports, rally is the closest to 3-gun. Like almost nobody's a professional. There's like, a couple dudes like Travis Pastrana that's like, this is kind of their job, but it's still not even their whole job, even when it's kind of their job. And there's some factory teams that'd be the sponsored shooters, but there's mostly just a bunch of dudes with Subarus who like got a bunch of bros together. But what they did is they have a point series for the whole year, and there's like 10-ish races during COVID, a bunch of stuff got canceled, and they're like, hey, we're down to like 6 races. So instead of cutting it from like, hey, the best 7 out of 10, they cut it to the best like 4 out of 6 or 3 out of 6 or whatever it was. I don't remember the specifics. But the tricky thing is we're talking about a bunch of people who have like lives outside of shooting. It's like everybody in this, you know, shoots at a super high level and they do it a lot. But with the exception of just John, really, nobody's doing this like as their job. Like everybody else has like other commitments and like reasons that they can't make certain matches. So it does really, and I don't know the specifics about like people's timelines and stuff like that, but it really does hamstring you if you're like, hey, you're really good at this thing and you can make the team, but if you just don't happen to have 3 of these 4 weekends free, you're just boned, and that's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. So like that does suck, that there's like, you need to make 3 of these 4, like 3 of 6, not the same thing as 3 of 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we really wanted to have more than 4 events, so that there could be more opportunities to score points. Yeah, I definitely relate with that. The tricky part is that now we're essentially, the argument for people who don't want best 2 to happen, what they say is it's disingenuous to the people who did go to 3 events or more, you know, who say, hey, this was the process and I went. If you would say, it's kind of like the time that I worked Texas 3-gun championship, there was a very controversial call, or a guy was really upset, and we were talking about it in the staff shack afterwards. The guy shot a bad stage, basically said, well, he was forced to shoot, and he didn't think it was fair, the conditions at that, so he should get a reshoot. And their position was, well, if you thought that it was unsafe to shoot, you shouldn't have shot. All right, you should just say, I'm not shooting, I can't see. Once you said, okay, I'm going to shoot, and you step off, like, you get what you get. And so, like, in this where we went the distance and people, you know, might have, like Reiser said, we have people who aren't, this isn't their pro thing, you know, so they spent some of their leisure time, leisure treasure, whatever it was that they gave up to go to all these events. It's kind of disingenuous to those people to say, okay, well, we know you tried for 3, but we're only going to take 2. The argument against this is that it's disingenuous to the people that adhered to the stated process, the approved, published process, and then because of the personalities involved at the end, we're going to change it because we didn't get the outcome that we liked. Hypothetical we, you know, whoever we is.
Sure.
So that's the ding against this. And yeah, I mean, but like I say, I mean, it's the same 4 dudes. It doesn't, when I was whipping this up, I was like, okay, does this put a dark horse like Tony Mazza into the mix? But it doesn't really. I mean, we're talking about the same 5 guys.
So it's like,
basically.
which 4 of these 5 guys is going is really what the conversation's all about.
Yeah.
And well, in like the same argument can be made for Kyle, that he's like, hey, I signed up for the process. The process was there was going to be all these matches, including one in Rio, and you guys didn't follow through with the process. Like the problem with this whole thing is no matter how you break it out, somebody's getting screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Because like the process as stated was there will be 6 matches and we're going to pick the best 3, and that didn't happen. So like anything that happens after that is just calling audibles.
Yeah.
So it's such a bummer, because it's like it was, you know, a lot of people, match directors, you, some other folks, like a lot of people put a lot of work into putting this series together, and then it just didn't quite happen the way that everybody had planned on.
Yeah.
And then like, no matter how you do the math, like somebody has a very legit gripe of like, what the F, dude? Like, I played by all the rules and you guys didn't carry out things the way that you said you were going to. Like, no, like whether you pick 2 or you know, don't have a match in Rio or however you do it, like somebody has a legit, like, bro, I did the thing you told me to do, and I shot really well, and I'm somehow still not on the team. Like, what's going on? Like, it's really a bummer.
Well, and there's some talk too of some of the 2 event people like saying they were doing it in protest, like they didn't think it was cool, like that there were that many events that close together and blah blah blah. So they only shot 2 in protest. And my problem with that is you can't protest after the fact. Like, the way to get what you want it's so easy for us to get what we want in this. You just got to be active on the front. It grinds my gears the same way. We talked about this on the show. Like, at the turn of the new year, people were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that they didn't differentiate carry optics from limited optics." Blah 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 blah. It's like, where were you 5 months ago when that was being talked about, and we could have actually changed it? Well, now you're upset, but now it's going to be a whole calendar year before anything could happen on that. And so it's kind of the same thing here. It's like nobody had a real process. Like, the first complaints I heard about these events being this close together, just because I would hear about it, the first complaints we had were 2 weeks ago. It's like, if you had a problem with how close together these 3 events were, the time... I'll even give you the time to talk about it was January, February, or I'll even give you like the first quarter of the year. But like, once you get all the way to the end, to just raise your hand and be like, "Hey man, I think it's kind of bullshit that you scheduled the matches that close together." Okay, but like, that's not an effective way to make a healthy change or to like legitimately litigate this. Like, it's very after the fact, like, "Oh yeah, well, now that it's all over, I think that was bullshit." It's like, well, that's pretty disingenuous way to try and affect change. If we're just, like I say, we're just calling balls and strikes.
Yeah. I mean, however it does end up going down here, I am happy at least there was kind of a process. Like that, would the same team have been picked, give or take one person? Like, yeah. I'm guessing that somebody picking the team probably would have picked 4 of these 5 people.
Yeah.
However that would have happened. Like, Kyle obviously probably would have been one of them.
Yeah.
As the reigning champ. So like, that for sure would have changed. Somebody would have gotten boned. But it is, even as shitty as the process is, it's nicer to have a process that's flawed than just to have a room full of people who don't shoot rifles picking the Rifle World Shoot team.
Yeah, I mean, we had a process. Like, everybody can see what it is. It was based on shooting.
I think what we've really learned from this, folks, is that Kyle Litzy should start shooting 3-gun again. Because if Kyle shot 3-gun, he would have just been in Minnesota. He would have shot the qualifier.
Come back to us, Kyle.
So yeah, come back. We miss you, buddy. Like, we're gonna convert him. The Parma team match is gonna be the thing that drags Kyle Litzy back into 3-gun.
We're gonna bring 3 mics and we're gonna have an intervention on the air.
Yeah, we are. He's just gonna walk into the room. He's gonna be like, "Why is there a circle of chairs? This isn't good."
Well, these are all people that care about you, Kyle.
These are all people that care about you. Everybody has a letter to read.
But I mean, I really hope, like, I don't this season isn't going to happen this way. I hope ever again. The hope would be that we would string out, like the pistol matches, 1 or 2 events a year, every year,
for multiple years.
So we would have a longer pipeline.
There's 3 years between matches.
Yeah, we had to do this we had to do this big bang to get it started, but the hope was that these events would carry on. And like I say, if that were to continue, it needs to be someone else. Because Net didn't get the return on investment. I got better things to do.
No, you did not.
Yeah. So, so like, I don't think it's always going to be this way. I don't think we're going to have these 6-round seasons ever again. That's why I'm not like blowing smoke up my own skirt when I say like I think long gun sports peaked last year in USPSA. I think it's going to go downhill very quickly unless somebody out there, who I don't know who it would be, picks up and runs with it. But I mean, why couldn't the Bay Area match be a recurring qualifier match? You know, it has history. You know, that kind of thing. That would be easy to do to keep this going and improve
Which, by
upon
the way,
lessons
looked
learned
like
and
an
all that stuff.
awesome match.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like that thing looked rad. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I never intended to participate in any of this stuff as a competitor. I literally just put it in motion because I was in the position, knew the people, and nobody else had an interest in it, so we just got it done. But like I say, I mean, I'm not trying to defend what I did. It's just I can tell you this is why it happened.
Well, and this is also like, you know, I think some latitude needs to be given to everybody because this is the first time there's ever been a qualification process for this.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
So it's like, hey, you know, dude, we did our best. We had nothing to go on. Like there was no script. Yeah. We just completely made this up. We started with a blank sheet of paper. This is what we landed on. And so for everybody from the cheap seats, the real trick here is that I don't know the verbiage, but you're going to get the gist. USPSA is essentially the United States representative in the world of IPSC, which means they pick the teams even in rifle and shotgun, which isn't what USPSA does, but because they are the representative body for IPSC for the United States, they pick the team. So it's not like Max could do a qualifier series for PCSL and that would select the team. It just doesn't work like that.
Correct. That was talked about as well. And Max actually offered, he wanted to do an event for this. The reason that didn't work out is because Max wants to do an event in PCSL format with PCSL targets. And I completely understand why he wants to do that.
Yeah.
That is completely a non-starter with USPSA. Like,
which sucks.
They don't have many things, but their rule book is one of the things. Yep. So they're like, no, it has to be. So like Max as a match director could surrogate through a club. So Max could say, for example, this was never talked about, but Max as a match director could put on an event through Real Salado, a USPSA club. He could put on an IPSC or USPSA rifle match that would have counted. He could do that. He's a USPSA member as well. The disconnect there is, and Max is a smart business guy, so this makes sense for him. Why would I put my match director equity into another organization, a competitive, from a business standpoint, a competitive organization? Why would I work for my competitor when I could be working for my own brand?
Yep.
But therein lies the rub. They're like, well, you're a different brand, so here's the disconnect. Some people would say, well, why don't we split off the rifle and shotgun components from USPSA? USPSA has exclusivity on it. They're not interested in giving it up. And IPSC doesn't really care. Like, they're not interested in starting another, from what I understand, they're not interested in starting up another chapter in the U.S. They're more focused on other smaller countries. They essentially want to, quote unquote, start more clubs if countries were clubs. They're more interested in growing other areas of the world for practical shooting than the U.S.
Yep.
The U.S., they just kind of accept us as a given. Like, we'll show up if we want to, and if we do, they would be glad to accept our money, but like they don't live or die or really they don't make decisions based on what the U.S. wants to do, from my understanding. So they're not really interested in parting that out. USPSA isn't interested in parting that out because there's nothing in it for them.
So what's in it for USPSA to keep it, though? Like, if USPSA was like, hey, you know what? You guys go set up your own qualifier series, do it like Max, go set it up, do whatever you want. Let us know the 4 guys. Like what's why would USPSA hang on to it? Because they also don't get anything out of it.
I don't think there's a reason that would make cogent sense as to why that doesn't happen. Because they really should just vote that the P stands for pistol. All right, it doesn't stand for practical; it stands for pistol. So they really don't care about it. I think that the reason it's not going to happen is because there's not enough people that care about it enough, that care about splitting it off enough, who are also involved in USPSA deep enough to have clout to get the votes. I don't think you could get the votes from the board
that's for sure.
to split it off.
Well, and the thing is, like, let's say what's the entire delegate. Well, I'm just going to continue my reign of freaking ChatGPT here and find out how many U.S. members went to Rifle World Shoot in 2024.
It was something like 50 or 70. I want to say it was 50 something.
All right. Well, we're a fucking betting podcast. So what are you giving me here? Is it 50 or 70?
Over under 60. I'll take the under.
You can take the under? Oh, fucking nailed it, dude. Oh, I don't actually know how the under goes in this direction, but anyways, it was 71 shooters. Oh. So 71 people from the United States went to the 2024 Rifle World Shoot. And what is there, like 30,000 active USPSA members?
Yeah.
So of those 30,000, there's 71 that give any fucks whatsoever about IPSC qualifying for rifle.
Yeah. And really, they just kind of wanted to go to Finland.
Yeah,
and shoot guns.
Exactly. Which, I'm not going to lie. If this was in Finland again, I would have maybe considered, like, just trying to, like, I'm not going to make the team. Like, I can count to 4. My name's not on that list. But I would maybe try to be a delegate for Finland.
More than a few people felt that way about Mongolia. Yeah. They're like,
when I saw Mongolia, I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, and that's where I was at. Like, I'm not a big international travel guy myself. And by big, I mean I'm not an international travel guy. But yeah, I was like, Mongolia? Nah. And really it was Aaron Hayes. Aaron Hayes was like one of the last few times he's like, oh yeah, I'll go to Europe. But he's like, I don't want to go to, I think it was Thailand, where he's like, I don't want to go to Thailand. I don't want to sit on a plane that long. And I'm like, yeah, like I could go to a European country, but I don't really care about some of these other ones. And so that's kind of where it was at on this one.
I would go to Thailand and extend and do a metric shit ton of climbing. They have like beaches there with like giant limestone walls sticking up out of the ocean where you like climb off of a boat onto the wall and just climb a couple pitches worth and wrap back down onto the boat.
Yeah. But
so good.
But yeah, I just don't think there's enough political inertia within USPSA to get it split off. Like, I don't think you could convince the people you need to convince to do it. Even though, entire sports and businesses have been built in the shadow of people USPSA has kicked out or not wanted to accommodate. IDPA, I-Corps, Three Gun Nation, USSL, PRS, NRL. USPSA had the opportunity to buy, from what I understand, they had the opportunity to buy PRS. They didn't take it. They could have owned long-range action shooting. They didn't do it because P stands for pistol.
It does. It does indeed.
So I don't think, while it would make sense, and I really think Max would do a really good job with it. I just don't think
he for sure would. Yeah.
Oh, like it's not even a question. No. But the political equity to get that done is just not there yet.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, ladies, we have a similar thing going on in the ladies. We could remove Kyle Litzy's name and we could insert Justine Williams. Bob did us dirty last time.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Because he messaged me.
What the hell, Bob?
And he's like, hey, man, I think you're wrong about Justine. She was in arena. She has 3 scores. And we kind of shoot from the hip every time we do the show. So I didn't verify that.
Whatever prep work you guys think we do,
Divide that by 9. That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. We very, like, literally while we're starting the recording, we're like, what should we talk about today?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. This just comes out. All right. So maybe that's awesome and maybe that's horrifying. I don't know. But so what we got going on in the ladies is we have Linda Turnbull, or not Turnbull, Linda Anthony now. Sorry, Linda and AJ.
Are we gonna hyphenate some shit? So here's the deal, Linda. You need to let us know, because first of all, whenever I wrap my hearing protection around my stomach, just to flex on people who don't run as much, I always refer to it as the Linda Turnbull. So if I need to change that, you need to let me know, because I've seen Linda Turnbull in practice score at nationals. So I don't know if it's Linda Turnbull or Linda Anthony or Linda Turnbull Anthony. So hit us up, let us know, and we'll do it right.
Here's the deal. I'm neither attractive or a chick, so my opinion does not count for anything. But if I were, and I was like a public figure somewhere, I would keep my maiden name as like my professional pseudonym, so that weirdos wouldn't bother me in my personal life. Right? Yeah. So even though our sport's like not that big, like if I were in her shoes, I would have stayed Linda Turnbull in the shooting sports, just so when she walks off the range, she could be Linda Anthony and nobody would, I don't know. That's just how nobody asked, but that's how I think about that.
There's a few, like, I'm going to say high level sponsored female shooters in the pistol world that their professional name is completely made up, which honestly is kind of a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if either of the Williams sisters get married, they're not the Williams sisters anymore.
I know. No, they're always the Williams sisters. They're not getting away from it.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Anyways,
got a personal brand.
Speaking of Justine and Green.
Yeah, okay. So we got Linda up top with 223 points. Right behind her, you got J-Lise Williams, who shot all 4 events. Pretty consistent, by the way. Well, she doesn't want to talk about arena, but pretty consistent after arena.
The rest of them very good.
Yeah, you get one throwout. It's like Steel Challenge. And so she has a 222. Behind her is Lanny Barnes at 220. And then just kind of a full step back from them is Becky Yackley at 198. But we have Justine and Green in here. Justine shot a 63 at the beginning of the season. Didn't shoot multi-gun nationals. Didn't shoot the Bay Area. Shoots an 85 at Heartland. So she has a 148.
And let's be clear, an 85 on the ladies' crew is a savage score. I think a 77 is the next highest score in the ladies.
Yeah. No,
so
that's
that is like, put some respect on that 85.
Put some respect on that 85. Need we forget that this is Justine, who made the overall PCC World Shoot team at the PCC Mini Rifle World Shoot. Not the ladies team. She made the overall team.
Yeah. Previously known as the men's team.
Yeah. So, like, no small deal. But as we've spent now an hour discussing, there's a process in which they said you need 3 scores. She has 2. So, a very, very, very high-level contender. But there are 4 ladies who legitimately put up 3 60-plus point scores. So what do we do? If the hypothetical probably not going to happen, Arizona happens, basically, if Justine does anything better than a 50, she wins, or she bumps out Becky.
Which there's 0 chance she's shooting worse than a 50.
Yeah, there's just, like I said,
yeah,
barring mechanical malfunction, act of God, DQ, if there's another match and Justine's at it, she basically bumps out Becky. And then the same thing would happen if they take best 2 scores. You would still have Linda, Jaylease, Lanny, and then Justine would be in there because she has a strong 85, and that 85 is what pulls her over Becky. So basically, if you do anything other than adhere to the published selection process, you are basically cherry picking Justine in place of Becky, really. And anybody who's met Becky knows that would, of course, she wouldn't have anything to say about that. Anything at all.
Definitely not. It's pretty wild in both of these cases that, I mean, Kyle's the current reigning world champion. Like if you just had to pick like who's the best rifle shooter in the United States right now, like you would just pick Kyle.
Fire up the chat.
Like not necessarily on any given day, but like overall, he won worlds. Like he's the best. If you watch downhill mountain biking, like he's wearing the rainbow stripes. Like that's all there is to it. And then Justine is kind of the same thing in the ladies in like, you know, long gun sports right now. Like she outshined all the women for PCC. Made the men's team.
Did she shoot rifle last time?
I don't know.
Fire up that chat machine.
Yeah, let me see what the GPT has to say about that.
I have no idea what the ladies. I do not remember at all. I mean, I'm sure Lanny was there. I know Lanny Barnes was there, and they did well, but I don't remember how well, and who else did what.
Let's see.
I feel like Linda was there too.
Justine Williams finished second in Finland in the ladies division.
And
Lena Michalak.
What would that have scored?
Lena Michalak took it down. 90%.
Okay, so if we did the old we count last world shoot, Justine's on the team. And then Lena didn't try. She's focused on shotgun right now. Who else was on the team?
Let's see. Interesting. It looks like Justine was not on the team. The ladies' team was Lena. It says Rebecca Yackley. That threw me off. Becky Yackley and Lanny Barnes.
Okay. I mean, Lanny's on this team no matter what. So really, and like if you take the last world shoot score, you put Justine in here.
How freaking awesome is it that Lanny Barnes, former Olympian, is like going to represent, like goes back to represent the United States in a completely different sport, fully outside the Olympics. Like, that's pretty sick.
Essentially 2 others. Well, did she shoot the PCC one? Maybe 3 sports.
Yeah, because she shot the shotgun. I'm not sure about PCC, but yeah, I mean, like Lanny has carried the flag into the arena multiple times. I don't know if literally, but metaphorically, anyways, has walked into the arena behind the flag multiple times.
To shockingly low fanfare. She is a very humble competitor.
Yeah. Very, very much.
And then the other thing too is I really like about this is, and we kind of had this problem with the shotgun team is like the ladies scoring high enough because there's the threshold rule of we want USPS, not we, I should stop saying we. USPSA wants world shoot competitors 60%. To score above 60%. Ladies and seniors are right at this threshold a lot of the time, where all 4 or 5 of these names that we're talking about, there are some 50s on the board. There are some 59s, 57s, but they shot 3 clean qualifying scores above 60%. And then it falls off pretty fast after them. Naomi does have 3 scores. She's below the 60 percentile. And then there were some other ladies. A few of them had 2 scores, but these 5 are really the serious contenders.
Yeah. Well, once again, we got 5 people shooting for 4 spots.
Yep.
So somebody's getting boned no matter what.
Yep. And speaking of getting boned no matter what, the seniors.
Jesus Christ.
got him, ladies and gentlemen. So, the senior open team, as it stands right now, would be Kelly Neal, Alan Webster, Santiago Lobos, and Daniel Leak. Now, I almost didn't include Daniel on this list. He flew under the radar because he signed up at one of the matches not as a senior. So shout out to John Waddell for pointing that out to me and having to spare me. He spared me from a retraction statement because Daniel would blow my shit up.
Yeah.
So
and rightfully so. Good looking out.
But in here we have the man, the myth, the legend, the listener, Keith Garcia.
What's up, Keith?
What's up, Keith? So
with,
Keith Garcia
with the two highest scores in senior.
Yeah. So Keith shows up to the Bay Area, local match for him, shoots an 82. I'm guessing he was like, well, man, if I shot an 82, I might as well go to Heartland, which he shoots an 85, which head and shoulders scores above anyone else on this list at any other match. But he only has 2 scores.
I'm sensing a theme here. I think 3 is officially a theme.
Yeah.
So in all 3 teams, we have potentially the top seed with only 2 scores.
What are you guys doing? Well, Keith, you're retired. I know what you're doing. But yeah, it's like, so basically, I forget what I seeded Keith in here at, but I was like, I think I just like doubled his 82. I was like, if he just repeats his 82 at a hypothetical Arizona match, he bumps everybody down the list. Then it's Keith, Kelly, Allen, Santi, and he bumps out Donnie. And then
don't bust that Daniel.
And then the same thing would happen if they did best 2. Keith, Kelly, Allen, Santi, and they just give Daniel a sweaty cooler full of water bottles, and he just melts like the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm melting. Ah! That's Daniel. If anything other than what is probably going to stand happens. But as it stands right now, Kelly, Allen, Santi, Daniel, which I'm kind of surprised Keith is in the mix here because I shot with Keith last year, and he was one of those in the camp of like, I'm kind of out on Mongolia. Like, just not. He's like, that's just too. I'm pretty sure the quote was, that's just too close to China for me.
That seems like a very Keith thing to say.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe he had enough Arnie Palmers that he was like, you know what? Being retired is boring. Going to Mongolia.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Just maybe he shot the Barrier match and he's like, oh, that was fun. I should go shoot Heartland.
Yeah.
And this has nothing to do with qualifying.
Could be.
And he just wanted to go shoot Heartland.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, I still got it, baby. And then some people tell him like, hey man, like we're trying to rally the troops and get this to happen, and like, and if that happened, you'd be in. He's like, oh yeah, okay, I'm for that. It's like, I'm for scuba. I'm happy. Like, we don't know. In fact, I maybe should have reached out to Keith for comment. Keith, when you hear this, hit me up. Curious where you're at on this thing, because
let us know.
Well, you're also just fun to talk to. But
so do you think we're likely to have Keith, Kyle, and Justina Green with picket signs outside of USPSA headquarters?
Oh, they wouldn't fly to Minnesota, which is a Delta hub, to shoot a 5-stage match. They're gonna go. They're gonna go picket headquarters. Are you freaking kidding me?
Delta hub my ass. You know what it cost me to fly from Salt Lake, which is also a Delta hub, to Minnesota? A flight so short I couldn't finish my movie. $940.
So they're gonna spend $940.
What
to
in the absolute ass?
To picket in front of the office that's full of W-2 employees that don't have a vote on this anyway and don't really care? No, they're not going to do that. if they do that, that's even more short-sighted than banking on this fictitious Arizona match.
What are they just going to drive to Layton's house instead?
They could. That would be easier.
It does sound easier.
It would be be closer for a lot of them.
Keith is way closer. Yeah, Keith is closer. Kyle's closer. They're all closer. They could all make that drive.
Yep. And so,
all right. When this is being read for the court record later on, I did not tell them they should do this. I just threw this out as a hypothetical.
Yeah, I mean, Biden wasn't held accountable for that either. So But so what's gonna happen? I actually just right now, one of my sources answered my call for right before we started this. I put it out there to a couple places, as I always do, because I'm trying to be a legit journalist. All right, so this is like a lost art in our country now. I'm not interjecting my opinion. I'm trying to do journalism here.
But after an hour 40 of interjecting our opinion, we're going to journalism.
Yeah.
Let's not get carried away. We're still just two dudes talking to each other on FaceTime.
But I did ask the question.
You did ask the question.
I am media seeking comment.
You respected the this is not on the record part of your last text string. So yeah.
Yep. So I am media seeking comment. Has anything changed from what we've talked about previously? Answer: no. So, to the best we can surmise, these arguments have been floated. All right. And I gave them the idea. All right. board@uspsa.org. It hits all of them in one stroke. The arguments have been laid out. I'm sure they've talked amongst themselves. Nothing's been said publicly. I very, very, very much doubt that anything will be changed from the selection process as it is published right now. So I think your senior team is Kelly, Allen, Santi, Donnie. I think your lady team is Linda, J-Lise, Lanny, and Becky. I think your overall team is Varick, B. Nelly, John, and AJ. There are compelling cases for why it might go in a different direction, and there's still time that it might. But if we were going to bet fantasy on what happens, I would strongly suspect, with everything that I know, that it's going to stay the course on what it is right now. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right, folks. Well, Maxwell told me when we started this phone call, he's like, hey, we should just talk about the rifle wizardry thing. I think that'll fill up a whole podcast. And I was like, will it? Yeah. Looking at the counter, it will. It absolutely will.
But that's every conceivable angle that we could think of to look at this. What if this, if then that? Really, it's boiled down to 5 people in all 3 of the races that count. And
it's so wild to me that exactly the same scenario is unfolding in all 3 teams.
And I kind of wish, honestly, for pod's sake, I kind of wish there was more people in the hunt. Like, I wish it was like, if we go and we take 2 scores, this blows up everything. And there's
now these 3 people are at. No, it's like, we're
here's
just
these 3 dudes we weren't
people.
even talking about before. Like, no, it's the same. It's the same 5 people, and the one in the 4th spot is just kind of on the bubble. And that's really what it comes down to, which maybe shows us that we kind of, 4 out of 5 ain't bad. It kind of worked.
It kind of worked.
It
kind of worked. If in all 3 of these cases, the person who finishes the best for the United States isn't on the team, like when it comes to actual match scores, I'm going to laugh my ass off.
Yeah,
Because
that'll be a
there's
whole
a
pod too.
very non-zero chance that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Do you think Keith goes if he's not on the team?
I don't know. I don't pretend to know what's inside Keith's head. I know that Kyle goes. No way does Kyle not go.
Yeah, Kyle goes.
And I gotta think Justine goes. Not sure about Keith. I think Keith he's in his like later decaf years, so I think he could go either way.
Yeah.
I think he's either like, whatever, I'm just gonna chill out here and shoot some matches, or he's like, I don't know, maybe Mongolia is not so bad.
Yeah, I feel like
either one. Total
I feel
coin
like
flip.
Keith is kind of like, I got nothing to prove, but I still enjoy competing. So like, I'll do it while it's fun. And I think it's still fun for him, but I don't think he's as vicious about it as he used to be.
For sure not. No, Keith has definitely mellowed out a lot.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know Keith well back in the day, but I hung out with him enough. Like Keith has definitely chilled out a substantial amount. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, folks. So that's going to do it for us today. Don't forget, keep your overlays handy and maybe book those flights ahead of time, because last match might not happen. So you might want to go to Minnesota anyways. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye, everyone.